Today. Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have the MS Society apologizing for firing a 90-year-old woman who didn't know pronouns. She volunteered at that organization for 60 years, and her husband actually got MS. And some mentally moral vacuous gal fired grandma because she didn't understand pronouns. And now they claim that they're apologizing. However, what's a nice way of saying half-assed, half-brained? They're apologizing, but not really apologizing. So they still want the policies in terms of their DEI, their DEI as well as their pronouns to stay in place. But they're saying, oh yeah, we should have educated her before we fired her or got rid of her. And again, it's usually more difficult to find again, it's a volunteer. So on average, it's usually harder to find those folks because, again, a lot of people don't have the bandwidth for extracurricular activities because, again, thanks to government printing money and causing inflation like never before, a lot of families have to have a dual income just to make by. There's a whole myriad of reasons why it's hard to find volunteers. And again, they did this, and this, the most biggest comments we saw was no one's going to donate to them again. So it'll be interesting to see, what the general feedback is that for this little apology. But let's dive in. So this was first reported thanks to Libs of TikTok, and she said, quote, breaking, National MS Society just released a statement backtracking on the entire story, saying they were wrong and apologized to the 90-year-old volunteer who they forced to step down over pronouns. Quote, we realize now that we made a mistake. As it's an organization, we fell short. We did not have clear protocols in place. We apologize to Fran directly, unquote. Now, Libs TikTok continues, and she says, quote, better late than never, but this never should have happened to begin with. They put an old lady under unnecessary stress, unquote. Which, again, 110% agree with that statement. Because, again, especially, first of all, it's one of those things where forced speech is tyranny. You shouldn't be forced to say anything. Some people might call you an a-hole. That's also their right to call you that. Now, when it comes to grandma, most people I know don't even understand the cultural, it's a nice way of saying, trend or pendulum swing to the topic and the area of pronouns. And truth be told, there's so many to choose from, a lot of people are still confused. It's not just, they're not confused out of malice or hate, they just don't understand it. And there are some people, due to religious personal beliefs, or they don't agree with that. And I don't think firing someone, and again, the mentally, morally vacuous gal who fired them, her name is Callie Kumor, and she did have her pronouns in her signature, and it was in Los Angeles. So again, it's not like people shouldn't have seen this, not have seen this coming. But again, this went viral. It got 2.7 million views and 43,000 likes. Now, going down in the comments account, I think most people will probably say still won't donate to this company or this nonprofit in this case. And a lot of people are still going to say, well, did you fire that manager? Now, that gal who did fire grandma, again, I can't imagine being so heartless. You fire a volunteer who had been there for 60 years? You fired grandma? It's almost unfathomable how evil that is. And yet, with modern culture in the United States, I'm not surprised that it happened. Now, going to the comments, one of the first ones comes from Dr. Richard Harambe, and it's a picture of grandma with the gangster glasses and a gangster chain. That got 4.5 thousand likes. Now, Paul Zuzupa says, quote, victory. When people ask what they can do to help push back against the woke agenda, you're seeing it right here. Expose the evil, shine light in the darkness. This is how you bring real change. A small victory, but a victory nevertheless, unquote. And that got 1,000 likes. Let's see. Philip Jackson says, quote, after doubling down a couple of massive times saying that they were correct, they apparently now faced a massive backlash that threatened their revenue stream. Now they'll contrite. This isn't an apology. It's a plea forget what they did so they can get back to business as usual. Unquote, get 3.4 thousand likes. And we will look at one of the first posts from the MS Society directly and see, as youth might say, they get ratio to say the least. So one or two more comments here. You have Mr. Jeff Diskopich saying, quote, not good enough. Now fire all the DEI hires and remove the equity manager. CEO and CEO need to resign without compensation. Unquote, getting 2.3 thousand likes. which, no, that'll never happen because, again, those policies are in place still. They just apologized, and I believe someone in the comments actually highlights the vernacular, where they apologized for firing her, but not why they fired her. So they're saying, oh yeah, we should have, quote unquote, educated grandma more instead of just firing her for not understanding this extremely relatively new concept. I mean, for an overwhelming majority of this 90-year-old woman's life, she has no idea what the hell you're talking about. It's not to be pejorative about her. It's just absolutely a different generation, different mindset. And, I mean, shoot, I know a lot of Gen Zs who still understand this. So, I mean, it's even, again, words almost fail me at times when it comes to firing grandma. That's evil. Go down to a couple more. Janice Dean says, quote, "Thank you for shining a light on this. I'm grateful for Fran's hard work to try to raise money and awareness for those in the U.S. living for MS. Please thank her for me." Unquote, getting 3.3 thousand likes. Which, let's see here. So now we're going to go, let me see if I can pull that up really quick. MS Society. National MS Society. Let's go to their tweet. Let's see here. And again, their whole statement is, we will... So again, their whole purpose, they claim, is we will cure multiple sclerosis while empowering people affected by MS to live their best lives. Again, a noble cause. It's heartbreaking. I actually had someone in my life who was affected by this, and we did raise money for it earlier in my life. Now, what does this have to do with, pronouns? They're supposedly raising money for a cure and treatments and therapeutics. And yet they want to be more about social justice. So let me see here. Let's see. Do they pin it? A statement. Here we go. So they did make a statement. And of course, there's, just some lawyer PR, copy paste from the old PR handbook. And they simply said, here's a statement made from us. And it got 649,000 views. It got 98 likes, which is still really fun math here today because I know public schools are all-time low for pretty much every subject. The ACT score is at a 32-year low in the United States. 32. And yet the teachers unions say they deserve more and more money. Interesting. So let's see. So we go to the little calculator here. So 98 people who saw that statement from the MS Society saw it and liked it. Now, they liked it. 649.9, let's see, thousand people viewed it. So that gives us, 98 divided by 649.9 gives us 1.507 e negative 4. Now, we're going to turn that into a number, or rather a percentage, by multiplying it by 100. We do that, we get, so this is the percent of people who saw it and liked the statement from the MS Society, 0.01507. Or if you feel so inclined, we can actually round up and just say 0.015. Or if you feel generous, the debate is, if it's 5, do you go up or down? You could be 0.02, I suppose. But that is abysmal to say at least. That's perhaps the worst ratio we've seen. And keep in mind, we used to do some coverage on Chris Christie when he had his futile attempt for the Republican nominee when he was running, or more realistically walking, earlier this year. Now, going a bit down to the comments, the first one, the most popular one, comes from Pragmatometer. They say, quote, "You still don't get it. Fran was not the problem. Her failure to understand the policy was not the problem. The policy is trash. It would have been better had you spent more time to, quote, help her understand the trash policy." And it looks like the statement from them is about a couple paragraphs long, but the most important part he underlined, and this is again from the MS Society, saying, quote, "And we should have had more conversations with Fran before making this decision. We should have spent more time with Fran, helping her understand why. As an organization, we are dedicated to build a diverse, inclusive movement where everyone has equitable access to care, connections, and support they need the best of their lives." Well, equity for everyone except grandma, apparently. Again, mentally and morally active to say the least. Now, him highlighting that part of the statement got 2.6 thousand likes. The middle-aged baby says, quote, "Third paragraph makes this a non-apology. This is pathetic and essentially Bud Light trolling out the Clydesdales because they realized they screwed up. Either apologize or don't," unquote. That got 1.1 thousand likes. Let's see here. Oh, this is hilarious. The hypocrisy is quite unpalatable. This comes from Andrea Marquette, and she highlighted their policy on their website, which they say, quote, the International MS Society is a nonpartisan organization committed to one bold vision, a world free of MS. To support our volunteers is essential to achieving our mission and ensuring people affected by MS can live their lives. MS does not discriminate, and everyone who shares our vision of a free world of MS is welcome here, unquote. Apparently not. You have to have a certain mindset or belief track in order to work or volunteer there. So you're not even getting paid. It's a volunteer position. Now, going down, you see one from Brad Morgan. It says, quote, you need to fire the consultant that gave you the impression this would suffice, unquote, getting 437 likes. Let's see here. And I'm trying to see if there's any contrarian statements, because, again, there are people who do believe that she should have been fired. I think those people are mostly heartless and mindless, but there are those people out there. Trying to see if they actually have any statements or they have any comments here. C/Sardiver says, quote, this is a pathetic non-apology. You just explained why you're awful people. Unquote, getting 810 likes. Let's see here. Professor Gary Francoin says, quote, as a policy, this falls short. The only policy you need is the one that no one can be coerced to speak and say things that they do not believe in. You treated Fran in cruel and abusive manner because she wouldn't buy into the metaphysical ideology that is indistinguishable from a religion, unquote. That got 701 likes. Let's see here. So needless to say, as youth might say, they were ratioed to say the least. And again, they showed their true colors. I can't imagine how many people are going to donate to them again. Now, that being said, I still highly recommend if you have someone affected by MS, raise money for that individual, and perhaps another, nonprofit that is actually truly, apolitical and unbiased and doesn't coerce and force people to say or think certain things. But yeah, when it comes to the donations for this company, and again, if you look at statistics, conservatives do donate more on average, and they just shot themselves in the foot, perhaps worse than Governor DeSantis's presidential campaign. But it'll be interesting to see how quickly their donations just completely dry up. But I can't help but think, again, the U.S. is about 50-50 split, conservatives and liberals. And a lot of these issues, cultural issues, are also political issues. So I can't help but think they potentially alienated 50% of their prospective donors. 50. Now, if you take to the fact that conservatives also donate more on average, I would argue maybe 60% of their donors, 65% of their donors. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone's actually held accountable at the MS Society, if anyone's actually fired for their heartless, I was about to say their business attitudes. That is true, but it's also their being morally and mentally vacuous, to say the least. And again, firing grandma who had donated her time to the cause for 60 years. I can't help but think, unfortunately, with the cultural shift nowadays, I'm not sure how many people will actually really be held accountable or if anyone will actually be fired for this. But as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down is a great way to give me some additional feedback so I can learn how to make the show better and better. Also, sharing with a friend, great way to assist as well. And specifically, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.